Hey guys, what is going on? This is Ip of RageQuitTV. Gonna be casting a game between AgentSmith and EG.Demuslim. It is a TVT on Shakuras Plateau, and I have no clue who AgentSmith is, but ever since MLG Winter Arena, I just can't get enough of Demuslim. He did take out Nesty, and that was pretty much the impossible. He was not confident going up in the match, and no one in their right mind would predict Demuslim beating Nesty. I'm sorry, Demuslim fans. It's true, at least until he did it, and prove almost everyone wrong. Of course, a few people did vote for Demuslim. I think one of the staff at MLG did too, but JP and all the others were like, oh, well, Nesty's easily got this one. So Demuslim is going to be building his 10 supply depot. AgentSmith building that supply depot right next to his command center. So Demuslim going to be walling off while AgentSmith is not walling off. Not too big of a difference there. But Demuslim will be denying any type of scouting information, even if the SCV gets sent a little bit earlier, because all he needs is the barracks to be building and another supply depot to be building to stop the SCV from going inside his base and seeing the gas timing. While AgentSmith, he will need 2 Marines to stop Demuslim from sneaking the SCV into his base to see exactly what he is up to. His barracks being built right next to his command center with the same SCV, so it looks like he is just focusing purely on macro, going for that 13 gas. And Demuslim, is he going to be going for 13 gas as well? No, it doesn't look like it. He is up to 14 supply. We do have an SCV going out to scout after the barracks is halfway done. Not exactly sure on the timing of this. It may be just time, so he always goes in and gets a scout on exactly what his opponent is doing. He is going to be scouting AgentSmith second, and AgentSmith is getting that gas, has the barracks going, and now he is going to be sending out his scout right when the barracks is about to complete. So both players just picking odd times to send out their scouts. AgentSmith going to be scouting in the correct direction first, and that is definitely a win for him. Demuslim does have his gas up, and I believe that gas is much later going to Muslim's gas. You can see he has only mined 30 gas, while Smith has mined about 70. We do have Smith now going in to see what Demuslim's up to, but Demuslim has a supply depot in the Marine going to be coming out, and he doesn't have 2 Marines, but the supply depot up here will block that SCV, and the SCV cannot get in. And we do have Demuslim. His one SCV did get scared off. He did not go in and see the gas, which is a little bit odd. Just wanted to keep that SCV alive. Saw the Marine, and that is all he saw. He immediately turned around as soon as he started getting shot. I think he had a chance of sneaking by. If the micro is perfect, the Marine can take out the SCV. But oftentimes, it is not. We do have Demuslim hiding a factory off way over here. This can indicate Banshee-type play, especially because he is getting a second gas, and AgentSmith getting his second gas as well. So it looks like both players may be going into Cloaked Banshee. Demuslim has a little bit bigger tail because he's hiding this over to the side. So if a scan does go down right here, and it would actually see like this area, then AgentSmith would have no idea, because this is generally where you scan. Actually, you want to scan like right here, just so you can see if an expansion is down here and see anything up here. It's around that area, I think you generally scan, or you can scan up in this area. Either of those, generally you do not scan way off to this side, so if Smith throws a scan, well, he won't know what Demuslim is cooking. And Smith setting his SCV down here. It looks like he will be taking expansion. He is going for definitely Banshees. I'm not positive if it is cloaked because he is getting expansion, but if it's not cloaked, why does he have the second gas? So it should be cloaked Banshees by both players. You can see Demuslim lifting off his tech lab now as well. And Demuslim still producing Marines going to this. We do have 6 Marines for Demuslim, only 2 for AgentSmith. So AgentSmith playing this extremely risky right now, not building any defense, just going straight up to this Banshee, and then cutting the corner on his defensive unit so he can get this command center up. While Demuslim, he has walled off. He's building plenty of units in defense in case Hellions decide to come in. If Demuslim instead went for like a Hellion build, I don't know how AgentSmith wouldn't lose almost everything. I mean, the Banshee would eventually come out, but the Hellions would be hitting right now, and those Marines would be toasted. And then the SCVs, they don't do too well against Banshees. And did he throw a scan? No, he didn't, but he is getting an engineering bay up. And neither player has scans, so they don't know exactly what's going. AgentSmith getting an engineering bay. We'll see if he builds missile turrets immediately to defend against the Banshees. And there we go. Demuslim is scanning. It doesn't look like AgentSmith scans in return. We do have DeMuslim with these 2 watchtowers, and this is absolutely huge because even though the Banshees do come out about the same time, DeMuslims will get there so much earlier just because it can cut through the map. He knows, well, he doesn't have a watchtower. I don't have to worry about hiding my Banshee. This whole area right here is safe. So he doesn't go make that L shape. He just goes straightly across the map. While we do have AgentSmith having to take the scenic route to get to DeMuslim's base, we do see the Banshees were made at the same time. DeMuslims gets there probably around 20 seconds earlier as it enters the base at 7:27, and we'll see when this one Banshee does enter. We do have a Viking built and 2 missile turrets, so that is definitely going to be fended off, and did not scan it. And at 7:47, the Banshee is going to be getting in here, and it cloaks, but DeMuslim has a missile turret of his own. And I like DeMuslim's play much better than like what AgentSmith is doing, just because you look at DeMuslim, he knew it was cloaked Banshee, so he got the missile turret. AgentSmith, he had no idea. He did that completely in the dark and only had 2 Marines and a tank to defend against any all-ins. That tank is late. So against any all-ins, all he had were 2 Marines because he got the command center up, decided, okay, let's get an eBay and get 2 missile turrets because, well, why not? And then also went for a Viking after his Banshee. So if DeMuslim did anything beyond a Banshee build, then AgentSmith would be so far behind and probably would have lost the game by now. But he cut those edges and he rolled the dice, got lucky, and defended perfectly, and does have the economic edge because the expansion is much earlier than DeMuslim's. Going to the SCV count though, both players at 34. What is the difference? We do have AgentSmith with a Raven and a tank, and DeMuslim doesn't have either of those. So right now AgentSmith has the same econ as DeMuslim, and he also has a few extra units. DeMuslim going to be cloaking his Banshee, going to come in here, try to take out the tank, and there is the Raven and the Viking, so this Banshee will be falling. There's no saving it. It's going to try to get whatever it can. Only 3 kills on that, and AgentSmith is going to be returning home with his Banshee. 2 kills on that. Workers killed. DeMuslim gets 3. AgentSmith gets 1. And it looks like the pressure has stopped for both players. We do have DeMuslim going up into a heavy mech route with his triple factories, and AgentSmith going to be going into a bio route. And that means AgentSmith will probably be putting on the pressure on DeMuslim before DeMuslim puts the pressure on him, because with mech, you always just attack the map. You never attack your opponent. If you're attacking your opponent with mech, you're doing it wrong. You always attack positions on the map. Even if your opponent isn't there, you're like, okay, I want to take control of this area, and then you do it with mech. You don't go, okay, I want to kill him, because if you ever have that mentality playing mech, generally you will lose. We do have AgentSmith just patrolling around with his Raven and Viking. Gonna be scouting whatever he can. DeMuslim just keeping an eye on this third base with his Hellion. And an auto turret is gonna be placed in the Hellion, just gonna scoot away from that, and that may be a waste of energy on this Raven. Really wants to take care of this Hellion. And DeMuslim just getting his Hellion back. And I guess AgentSmith, maybe if DeMuslim didn't wall off, then AgentSmith would have said, okay, you may not be going Banshee, but maybe in his cases, it's like above a 50% chance if you wall off, it's Banshees in TVT. I have no idea, but he did get lucky. And we do have AgentSmith now going to be doing a drop. I think DeMuslim did get to see that with his Hellion, so that's why he was so focused on killing off this Hellion. And did DeMuslim actually notice, just because there were red dots here anyways, going into his base, it doesn't look like he is defending against the drop. None of his units have moved, so maybe he did not see it. The Hellion now does go down, and we do have the third base going along, as DeMuslim is taking his third base as well. So both players, again, they open up Banshees, have the same exact third base timing, except we do have AgentSmith going to be doing a 2-prong attack, going off into this main, and it looks like going to be moving out on the front, and a bunch of Hellions are moving across the map. That means this one drop could do a lot of damage, but the missile turret takes care of the medevac before too much is lost. These Marauders are going to be able to kill off these Hellions. And we do have DeMuslim pulling a lot of units back just to deal with these few units that manage to live, and these 2 tanks do end off killing them. And now DeMuslim is going to be moving back out. We do have AgentSmith going to be going in to check for the third base. Does have a medevac, so he can get most of his units out of there just fine. And now he's going to be going in there, going to get the stim and kill as many SCVs as he possibly can. We do have, was it AgentSmith scan? No, that was DeMuslim scan, just to make sure there wasn't anything waiting for him. as he does come here. So he's going to lift off his command center and just hang out right here and come in when he has all his units. Medevac does lift up his units, and one Marauder is going to get left behind as the Marine takes that one seat. And there we go, Marauder goes down, and the Viking will be taking out the Medevac. Very nicely done by Demuslim, and his Marines will take out these Marauders, no problem. So Demuslim handling that pretty well. AgentSmith, though, did get 9 worker kills out of all that aggression going into the unit's loss tab. It is rather even, with Demuslim losing a bit more. So if I have to give the edge to anyone, it is AgentSmith, and he has built 2 more command centers behind this. So he's on 5 orbitals right now, and Demuslim, he's on just 3. So we have the mule advantage and the scan advantage to AgentSmith, but he hasn't really scanned at all. It looks like he may have scanned on this natural when he went in here. I have no clue when that went down, but he does have vision in like a circular area of this. We have a Banshee coming back. This is the same Banshee from the early stages that did return home. Didn't go down. Now he cloaks to go harass this third base. Demuslim doesn't have any detection here. Will be forced to use a scan, and it looks like AgentSmith does throw a scan to see where Demuslim's units are. Pulls back the Hellions, which is the fodder, so all the Marines and Marauders can get up close to those tanks. And now he's tugging down all those tanks. If he takes out the tanks, that will be a win for him, but no, he just can't. And that was a beautiful play by him. Demuslim is going to be putting up a sensor tower over here. But just going back to what AgentSmith did, he had his Banshee over here. Yes, he was getting worker kills, but that was not his goal. He wanted to get the fodder out of the way so he could just A-move his Marines and Marauders into those tanks while spreading them out. And then the Hellions come in a little bit late, but the tanks have already begun being under siege. The goal for those Hellions is kind of just to act as fodder or a wall between those tanks and absorb damage. Going back to this loss tab, though, we do see AgentSmith not doing too well after that fight. He did lose a considerable amount compared to Demuslim. Demuslim just had too many tanks. Another scan going down. You can see all those tanks. Demuslim does have the blue flames on his Hellions. We have AgentSmith going to be backing off right here, but Demuslim has too many tanks, and he is taking a lot of fire right now. Demuslim has that Viking lead. We do have AgentSmith with plenty of bio coming back in. And Demuslim's going to spread out his tanks because right now he is vulnerable to units just running down this bottom. So we should see the tanks start spreading out and him controlling both of those watchtowers. AgentSmith is on more base than Demuslim because he is playing bio, and he can do that. While Demuslim, he can't really expand that freely while playing mech. And we do have a bunch of Hellions coming in here, but AgentSmith has already pulled his SCVs out of the way. Scan going down, and that is a Demuslim scan, it looks like. And now AgentSmith going to be scanning where Demuslim is. Sees, okay, you have units absolutely everywhere. We do have 3-2 on the way for AgentSmith, while Demuslim is getting his +2 vehicle weapons upgrade. Doesn't have any armor. He is getting high-sec auto-tracking, which will add to the range to pretty much all his spells, I believe. His PF, point defense drone, and auto turret, I think that adds to. I don't think it does it to Hunter Seeker Missile. I don't know. And Demuslim with that tank spread. We have another scan going down by AgentSmith. And Demuslim with a scan on AgentSmith's army. He sees another command center, so he will know that AgentSmith is going on 5 bases right now. While Demuslim just taking his 4th base. Did AgentSmith throw any scans around Demuslim's base? No, he did not. So we have Demuslim with just his pure mech with tanks and Hellions, with a bunch of Vikings and 1 single Banshee. We do have 2 point defense drones right here by AgentSmith. Maybe I missed something, or maybe just put those down so those Vikings don't come and just snipe all the medevacs off, because those are very precious. AgentSmith does not want to lose these medevacs because he is now going into Banshees and Vikings of his own. And there we go, Demuslim trying to pick off one of those auto turrets or point defense drones. And he does get both of them without taking any losses. But we do have a big drop by AgentSmith. 2 full dropships going in. That is a PF, though. And those are just Marines. That PF getting 5 kills. Marines going to be coming down, but those are Blue Flamed Hellions. And Blue Flamed Hellions do very well against just Marines. But he is going to see Demuslim has pulled quite a bit back. And this tank line at the middle of the map is unprotected right now. The fodder, again, is gone. A scan does go down. Is he going to be moving in? No, it doesn't look like he's going to take advantage of that. Those tanks, while they are low in number, they are still very, very strong. We did see, I think, AgentSmith getting Banshees out. Yeah, he does have 4 Banshees, so I think he may be in the magic number to just take out tanks very quickly, so the next time he pulls DeMuslim back, then he can go in with his Banshees and hoping the Vikings are not there. As DeMuslim is inching forward, AgentSmith just pulling back a little bit, giving up some position. We do have a few Vikings by him. He is at 5 Vikings, while DeMuslim, he is at 11. Oh no, it's 12 to 11. We have a lot of Vikings being hidden. And there we go. All the Vikings show themselves, and it looks like AgentSmith does have the air lead, and now we have the Hellions coming in on that ground. I have no clue who's going to be winning this. All these tanks in the back not doing anything just yet, but as AgentSmith does move forward, those tanks will start attacking things. And is he going to be moving forward, though, because AgentSmith still has a lot of Banshees. And those Banshees going to be taking out those tanks, so these tanks going down for relatively nothing. So DeMuslim had cloaked Banshees of his own. At the same time, we have one Marine not doing all that much. And man, that battle was absolutely crazy. Now here goes DeMuslim's cloaked Banshees. Going to do a little bit of harassment on his own. Going to the units lost. We do have it still about tied, so both players about even on that giant fight. Scan is going to go down, then these two Viking Banshees will fall very quickly. We do have +3 vehicle weapons now, just finishing for DeMuslim. That makes his tanks extremely scary. And 3-2 finished for the bio, but he has stopped his bio upgrades, not getting +3 armor. Another Raven on the way for AgentSmith, and he has turned down those tanks. The tanks do just fine out of season. You can see DeMuslim trying to micro the one tank back to keep it alive, but he just couldn't. Now that one Marauder does get burnt to a crisp. AgentSmith, though, still going with his bio play. He has 14 Vikings to DeMuslim's 9 with 2 Ravens. As DeMuslim is moving in with 2 Hellions. When this work is killed, it is even, and he finds all these Banshees with the Vikings, and yeah, that goes down. I'm not sure if I just missed it, but before that fight, it looked like AgentSmith may have been hiding his Vikings, which gave DeMuslim a false sense of security. Thought he had the air lead, and then all of a sudden, oh my god, he didn't. We do have AgentSmith, though, going in here. DeMuslim pulling off a lot of SCVs to act as a wall so this tank doesn't go down. And he did lose a handful of SCVs in that one battle. The Vikings now going to be landing to finish everything off. And going in the workers killed at 29, it was at 16, so it looks like 13 workers did die in the battle. Of course, the SCVs did form the line, so the Bioforce didn't just walk up in melee range to the tank, where the tank can't do anything. 45 SCVs to 58. So even though at DeMuslim losing a lot of SCVs, it's not like he is too far behind in those workers. AgentSmith, though, is still putting on the pressure, just constant pressure by him, never letting DeMuslim try to take that middle of the map again. DeMuslim lost his tank count, and now AgentSmith's like, okay, since you don't have a large tank count, I'm just not going to let you rebuild that. My Bioforce builds much, much quicker than yours, and this is how you play Bio. Once you take out all of the tanks, it becomes very difficult to get back in the game by Mech, just because Mech builds so slowly compared to Bio. But DeMuslim, with his visiting on tanks like this, does do a lot of damage. Marines and Marauders going to be coming in. This door does go down. There's Hellions now going to be falling. DeMuslim pulling a lot of Vikings and his tanks and everything to go defend against that. And AgentSmith is going to take out this orbital command, but it is almost mined out. However, that gas is gas he will no longer be getting. A few Marauders to take out this one Thor, and the Thor try and do his job, but no, he just can't. Those Marauders are very, very low, so DeMuslim is going to land his Vikings to take that out. And we have a bunch of missile turrets around here, just prevent against any drop play. But going back to this, still looks like the income could be kind of even. We do have DeMuslim with more gas somehow. AgentSmith not really focusing on gas. 1-1 on that. 3-1 on that geyser. No geyser here. No guys on gas here. So AgentSmith, while he is getting a lot of battle cruisers, isn't optimally using all his gas geysers. And that may be a mistake on him, or maybe he is a sick genius and has it thought out. But DeMuslim is the evil genius, trying to get all his units in position. But this battle cruiser's tech switch from AgentSmith may take DeMuslim by surprise. DeMuslim, we can go to what his counting station is. He doesn't really have that much anti-air besides Vikings. And there are 9 Ravens out, along with 24 Vikings for AgentSmith. So not only does AgentSmith have more Vikings than DeMuslim, but he also has a buttload of Vikings. Oh, not Vikings, Ravens. So he can throw down point defense drones, which means Demuslim's Vikings don't do anything. Demuslim has 1 BC, while AgentSmith has 3 BCs. Going to the upgrades, we know Demuslim at 1-0, while AgentSmith, what is he at? Where are his BCs at? I thought I saw 3. Follow the rally. Oh no, that's Demuslim that has all the Banshees. He had 3 in... No, Demuslim had 3 in production. My bad there. So, Demuslim's the only one with battle cruisers. Wow. Big mistake by me, but oh well. We do have Demuslim now with a pretty good not anti-air, but a pretty solid mech force. However, my point does stand about there not being enough anti-air to handle all these Ravens and Vikings. And then once the Ravens and Vikings do their job, the Banshees can clean up the tanks, and then the Marines and Marauders will clean up everything else. So, Demuslim may be in a little bit of trouble. He is getting Thors out, and he needs a lot of Thors. And he also has to do something. Maybe a ghost to EMP these Ravens, because point defense drone will be the death of Demuslim. We do have all the Vikings going to be coming in here, and Demuslim's got to pull off some sick defense to come out of this one. We'll see if he can do that. Now splitting up his units. Those BCs are toting down the Ravens, but all these point defense drones do go up. You can see Demuslim putting his Vikings in the back to try to take them out, but these Banshees now going to town on the tanks and the Hellions. Going into this counting station, we do have 7 Vikings versus the 21 Vikings. There's point defense drones being worth their weight in gold. And AgentSmith does take that game. Demuslim forced to call the GG. And AgentSmith played that game pretty well, but I don't know if I liked his play that much because he did a lot of things blindly. Let's see, did he see the battlecruiser tech switch? Well, if he didn't, he knew Demuslim wasn't getting that much anti-air, so I won't help him on that. The Raven Viking touch with Banshees that go into that air Terran was extremely beautiful. I really like that. Not using BCs, that was cool. Using the Banshees, because once he had all these Vikings and Ravens, he didn't need battlecruisers. He had a few Banshees, and that would be enough to take out all the tanks. And then, let's see, what's his Bioforce look like? 28 Marauders, 21 Marines, not too much. But definitely a pretty cool TVT. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will be going in an SC2 gears right now. And it won't be that long because I hear State of the Game is starting, and I want to go watch that. So we'll quickly go in this. And I mainly just want to emphasize going in this because I don't know who AgentSmith is. So it's always cool to see how good he is, because I did harp on him in the beginning of that game because of all his blind play, but we'll see how solid his mechanics are, and by mechanics, I just mean his APM, a number we can all oogle at. So we'll go into SC2 gears right now, and let's go to the end of the game. APM tab, we do have AgentSmith is one fast son of a gun. He doesn't really micro that much, but his macro is off the hook, and maybe that's just because he has so many barracks, and maybe like Bioplay does have higher APM than mech play. Well, overall, yeah, it does, because Bioplay is more active. But that is impressive. Macro APM 156. His micro was only 81. Demuslim at macro of 80 and a micro of 101. But as I was saying, he's got a lot of actions that he can just hold A or M for to build Marines or Marauders and such, so maybe that macro APM could be a little bit floated, but you can just look at the graph. Here is AgentSmith's, I don't know, that may be EAPM. I don't know all these lines, so we'll ignore that. Take out the build. Oh no, that doesn't do that. Okay, never mind. So EAPM for AgentSmith 238, Demuslim at 181. Going into the unit tiers, you can see Demuslim with his mech, AgentSmith with his bio. That is a pretty cool unit tier graph. Going in the builds tech/strat, we have how many point defense drones we use? 22 point defense drones. That is definitely a lot. 59 mules to 32 mules. Demuslim definitely not using as many mules as AgentSmith, and near the beginning of the game, you saw AgentSmith wasn't using his scans. He did all that blindly. But I want to point out, at the end of the game, he has more scans than Demuslim. So at the mid and late game, he was always scanning to see where Demuslim was, so he knew where he could attack by his bio. So that is definitely a cool play. And you know he was doing that just because he has more scans than Demuslim, because he didn't use any in the early stages of the game, and of course he is red. I'm not mixing this up. Going over into... was that all? Demuslim had 7-point defense drones. Yeah, that looks like it was about it. Going into these units, we have 91 Marauders and 248 Marines, that looks like. That is a lot of bio. 91 SCVs built by Demuslim. AgentSmith only building 66. 35 Vikings, 79 Hellions, 44 tanks, 5 BCs, 7 Thors, 2 Ravens, 6 Banshees, 8 Marines. Let's go back into Scene 1. Let's go to the unit kills. 35 workers killed for AgentSmith, so that's why Demuslim had so many more SCVs built. But actually, I realized I want to go back to one part in the game. The one battle that has so much going on, I did not know what was going on. It was near the middle of the map, so we'll go find that. It was right around here. That's pulling the units back. Maybe another 2 minutes. No. It's somewhere here. So let's just look at this slowly. Okay, not happening yet, obviously. Scan going down. Okay. So right now, before the battle, you can see AgentSmith. He is preparing for this. While Demuslim is pushing in, he's throwing the scan. He knows where the tanks are, and this may be kind of where he wants to attack because I don't know. I don't know exactly where, like, the ideal place for him to engage. But if Demuslim moves any more forward, then AgentSmith's spread no longer becomes valid. You can look at how well he is splitting all his bio. These Marines look like they're going over to the side. But he has a very nice split on all his bio right now. Does he even have siege mode? I've never seen him siege a tank. No, he doesn't have siege mode. He just built tanks. He's like, yeah, let's get some tanks. Those are cool units. And not get siege mode. It's not on the way either. But okay, that's pretty cool. I like the split. And the first fight going on in this one small group. Going over in the back. And you can see the discipline right now by AgentSmith. He knows right now that Demuslim, he doesn't have any anti-air on the ground. It is all just ground-to-ground damage. So this fight right here with his Vikings and Banshees, this is very nice by AgentSmith and not going in with the Marines and Marauders, because why engage this? Demuslim has to attack his ground force. It's not like his ground force is going to do anything to this air force. He probably knows he is going to win this air battle. Going into the Viking count, he has 13. Demuslim has 10. And the point defense drones, I think, went down for AgentSmith first. Demuslim has one right there. That's pretty cool. Both of them. And this 1-point defense drone really loves this Hellion, saving that from a Banshee volley. That is not needed. It would be much better spent on the Vikings, but you can't control that. That is all the AI's doing. But you can see that AgentSmith trying his best not to engage and knows, okay, I got the air battle won. He is staying as far away, and now he can go in and attack those tanks. He knows it's safe going to his vision. I mean, this is a relatively safe area. This one tank can hit him. This tank can't. These tanks are unsieged. So he's got 2 tanks to only worry about when all these can't do anything. So he goes in at the right moment. Kills a lot of those tanks, and now he doesn't have to go in with that bio. Those tanks were dead anyways. I'd say that is a mistake by him. But he definitely came out of this fight the victor. And wow, the units lost really even right there. Let's go before that battle. Let's go. We'll go to the battle really fast. And you can see Demuslim had lost a lot less before this. So just watching the battle with that units lost, we'll see that AgentSmith just stops losing and Demuslim keeps losing units. And now you can see it coming closer and closer together, and now AgentSmith has actually lost less than Demuslim, and that's only going to keep on happening as these tanks do fall. So that fight definitely, I don't want to say it called the game, But this was the turning point of the game, which put Demuslim on the back foot, because now he doesn't have any tanks. And this one, AgentSmith just doesn't let up on the pressure. If he held a lot of the Bioforce and let his Banshees clean up more of those tanks, then I'd say that he'd be able to win the game straight out from this. But maybe he sent his Bioforce in because he was worried about Demuslim unsieging and getting those tanks away, and he wanted to ensure all the mech dies, because Demuslim, let's go, how many tanks can he produce at a time? He can produce 1, 2, 3 tanks at a time. That is not many, considering we can produce all of this bio. So that's how you beat mech. Once you take out the mech force, you can see AgentSmith never ever let up for a minute. Just kept applying the pressure, not letting Demuslim ever try to siege this middle area again. Kept him back at his base, took air control, and then won the game. Very well played. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.